Hello, everyone. Good to see you all again. Welcome to ANC 1C's November meeting of the full commission. My name is Amir Irani. I'm chairperson of ANC 1C, and I also represent single member district 1C01, which is the southwest corner of Adams Morgan. I'd now like to ask my fellow commissioners to introduce themselves, starting from the top. Commissioner Clem.
Hello, everyone. My name is Commissioner Clem. My name is Fiona Clem. I'm in 1C08. That's the southeast corner of Adams Morgan.
Let's just go down numerically.
Hello, I'm Commissioner Boots, 1C06. That's the eastern edge of Adams Morgan from Colorama up to Columbia, and then a little bit of Lanier.
And I am Megan Faulkner, Commissioner for 1C04, which is the northwest corner of Adams Morgan around Walter Pierce Park.
Peter Wood, 1C03, right in the middle, 18th to 19th, Biltmore to Wyoming.
I'm Celeste. I represent 1C02 on the west side between Connecticut and Calvert.
Great. Moving on to chair's report. I just have a couple things to say. We're excited to have both our council member on the line, but also our new commissioner here. Commissioner-elect Jake, is it Falaschini or Falaschini?
Falaschini.
Okay. So Commissioner-elect Jake Falaschini. So momentarily, council member Nadeau, our Ward 1 council member, will administer the oath of office for Commissioner-elect Falaschini. And the one other thing I have to say that's also super important for everyone is that DC HealthLink's open enrollment period is here. It's open from now until the end of January. So go to dchealthlink.com to browse plans and see prices and sign up. So nothing else for the chair's report. Secretary Clem, you have something?
As secretary, I just wanted to announce or re-announce, make sure that everybody is aware of 1C05's vacancy. And if they are interested in running for 1C05, they can go to the DC Board of Elections website and get information and paperwork there. Thank you.
Treasurer Faulkner.
Yes, thank you. I am going to share my screen to share the quarterly financial report, which we will be approving in the consent agenda section. Sorry, one sec. Okay. So this is our quarterly financial report for Q4, which ran from July to the end of September. As people can see, we received an allotment in this period. We also received a reimbursement for language translation services, which is the $480. And then our normal personnel expenses, some grants, and there's a higher than normal purchase of service because our accountant had mistakenly not billed us for a year. And so we paid for our entire year of accounting services at the end of September. And I think that's it. I guess I will add, we also have gotten 2 allotments in the month of October and also have made another grant at the beginning of October. And our current balance at this very moment is $12,044.28. So this amount is where we ended, the ending balance is where we ended the quarter, but we currently have about $3,300 more. And that is it for my report. If anyone has questions about the financial report, let me know.
Thanks, Treasurer Faulkner. Questions for our esteemed treasurer? Okay. Seeing none, let's go over to commissioner announcements. We'll start with, I'll start from the bottom here, 1C01. I don't have commissioner announcements, but if you are also a chair of a committee, please announce the committee agenda and the meeting day and time. So personally, I don't have commissioner announcements, but the ABC and Public Safety Committee will be meeting next week, November 10th at 7 p.m. You can find the Zoom link at anc1c.org by clicking at the committees and going to ABC and Public Safety Committee. We have two things on the agenda: the police report, which is the PSA from Area 303. The officers from Area 303 will deliver their police report, including crime stats. And then we will also be hearing from Juicy King Crab Express. Either the owners and or a representative will present to the committee / to the community about a new ABC license application. And Juicy King Crab Express is located at 1832 Columbia Road, about across the street from Patango on one side and a few doors down. So, Commissioner Carano, would you like to continue?
Thank you. So the next PSA committee meeting will be on the 24th, right before Thanksgiving. We're going to have updates from Adams Morgan Day and Jubilee, not housing, I want to say housing. Jubilee Jumpstart on the grants that we made. So they'll provide updates on programs since then. Two more general announcements. One, as you may know, leaf collection started this week. So if you aren't aware of the schedule, I'll drop the link where you can find it in the chat. Second, the Ward 1 Education Council is holding an event on November 8th on information on children's vaccinations for COVID, in part hosted by some families at Murray Reed. And I'll drop that in the chat as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Carano. Commissioner Faulkner?
I believe the next number is 3.
Oh, excuse me.
That's fine. Yeah, sorry, I apologize in advance. I have a lot of things. But so first, Suicide Walk last month was great. I think some people from Asmore did participate in the event. Kind of ties in with some of the domestic violence stuff we've done before. It was very touching. Ward 1 redistricting, we're of course in the process of redistricting. So we once every decade get to do this. Most of the talk is about like not here, Ward 6, 7, 8, basically. I did testify. I'll probably testify a bit again at the final one before the ANCs on Friday. But if anyone has any input on the testimony or would like to see my testimony, it's online. I'm happy to send it. I've made some suggestions. I do have some professional training as a geographer and a demographer, so that was fun. And then also there's been a lot of, it's getting cold. There is an encampment, at least one that we know of in our ANC. There are many others throughout the city. I co-authored a piece that touches on some of the issues with the pilot program that has been pushing people out of the places that they're living. Again, I've had a lot of feedback, pretty much entirely positive, thankfully, but there's often a lot of resistance among how that community is dealt with. Happy to engage with people on that issue as well. And also it's fun this is the past month, garden weeding in Calero Park. That was fun as well. If anyone's interested in being involved with stuff in Calero Park in the future, please let me know. Looking ahead, as Commissioner Carano mentioned, the leaf collection is going on. I know last year there was a couple blocks in and near my SMD that for whatever reason got ignored. I've been engaged with DGS, Department of General Services, to address that. I think that we might have it under control. If not, if you have any streets that get overlooked, let's try to get it earlier rather than like letting frozen wet leaves be a hazard in January, which happened last year. Talk to me or whoever your SMD commissioner is. Rats also an issue always, but some people have been, I just wanted to point out, very good at engaging on this. and not being super hostile, which has happened in the past. And that's been actually really refreshing. Also progress on some projects with DPR and DDOT. I know we have some DDOT representatives here, so I'm very happy. I'll actually just let them talk about that. But the thing I'm really excited about, I think I've alluded to this for several months, but on Saturday, November 6th, which is what, 3 days from now, I've helped organize a cleanup that will go through Adams Morgan from near American University to River Terrace, which is just east of the Anacostia River. I'm probably one of the only people that will be walking like the whole 10 miles. I have no pressure to do so, but it's like from 9 a.m. to roughly 5 p.m. There's a map. It's on the listserv, I think, next door or somewhere. I can send it out too and put it in the chat. But we'll be collecting a lot of trash. A lot of neighborhood organizations are coming out. At 11 a.m. is the scheduled time to be on the Duke Ellington Bridge, which is the closest westward point of Adams Morgan on the route for stopping. Rock Creek Conservancy will be speaking then. Fun for Calmar Park is involved. We'll cut through. The next stop on the east side of Adams Morgan will actually be a little bit east of the neighborhood at the Harrison Rec Center, which is on V Street. You can come whenever you want for as long as you want. Please come. A lot of good people, a lot of groups, a lot of cleaning. Thank you for this time. I said a lot.
All right, Commissioner Faulkner, please.
Yes, I don't have many updates. I just did want to mention that there is, as many people know, citywide redistricting is going on currently. Last week, there was a Ward 1 redistricting hearing. Today, I think there was a very long Ward 6 redistricting hearing, but on Friday, it'll be the final citywide hearing. So I'll put the link to Councilmember Alyssa Silverman's page with sort of all the info about redistricting if people are interested. I think it's important discussion, and it sounds like some areas around Adams Morgan may be changing slightly, and so people may be interested.
Thanks, Commissioner Faulkner. Your audio is sort of trailing off a little bit at the end there, but we heard it. So, Commissioner Boots.
I just have a couple of things. First, for those in who have traveled down Kalorama lately, you'll notice there's 2 new speed bumps on the way, so that's good to see. And then I also wanted to, I'll put it in the chat that there is a listing now of vaccination sites for 5 to 11-year-olds in DC, so make sure to get that. And also boosters are available. And so you can also check on the website to see if you're eligible or not for that. I think especially for Johnson & Johnson's, I think it's everyone over 18 is eligible for that. Although please correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. And then I also wanted to just mention that Jubilee Housing had a really great presentation last week at our committee hearing. I checked, it didn't look like the link was working on our website, so hopefully we can fix that. But if you do have, just a little bit of time to hear what's going on in the neighborhood, and to a lot of some of the buildings that have been vacant for quite some time, and seeing what's going to be happening in the next couple of years, I think it's really going to change a few spots in the neighborhood for the positive. Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Clem.
Thank you. I just have a quick announcement or just a quick update about some of the traffic safety in the Reed Cook neighborhood. I see that Cynthia is on the line, and I wanted to give a great shout out to her. She's been very helpful, as well as the council member's office and Allie. So we've gotten 6 new speed bumps in Reed Cook. I'm very excited about that. 2 on Kalorama coming from 16th Street, 2 between Euclid and Kalorama on Ontario, and 2 on Ontario between Euclid and Florida. And we've gotten, very excited about that. We also have a lot of other safety measures that are being implemented. We have a hawk signal on 16th between 16th and Kalorama in the park. We have one at Belmont, and we have some safety measures at 17th and Florida. There's just a lot going on, and I really appreciate it. And I'm very excited that TSAs are getting closed and these safety measures are getting implemented. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Clem. Without further ado, our Ward 1 council member, Brianne Nadeau, is joining us and administer the oath of office for Commissioner Falaskini, Commissioner-elect Falaskini.
All right, let's start with the big show. Commissioner-elect,
Council member, thank you.
Yay, congratulations. Thank you for running. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jake Falaschini,
I, Jake Falaschini,
having been duly elected as a commissioner
having been duly elected as a commissioner
of the advisory neighborhood commissions
of the Advisory Neighborhood Commissions
of the District of Columbia,
of the District of Columbia,
do solemnly swear that I,
do solemnly swear that I,
Jake Falaschini,
Jake Falaschini,
will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
that I will perform such duties as may be assigned to me
that I will perform such duties as may be assigned to me
as a member of said commissions,
as member of said commissions,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
without fear or favor,
without fear of favor,
that I will exercise my best judgment
that I will exercise my best judgment
and will consider each matter before me
and will consider each matter before me
from the viewpoint of the best interest
from the viewpoint of the best interest
of the District of Columbia as a whole,
of the District of Columbia as a whole,
and that I will faithfully discharge said duties.
and that I will faithfully discharge said duties.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Councilmember.
Absolutely. Make sure to sign your oath and send it to me, and then I will sign that other countersign.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, good. Absolutely. And one of these days, I'm sure they'll give you access to the ANC email account, and you'll be sorry they did.
Indeed.
Mr. Chairman, would you
Thank
like
you,
me to
council
just-
member, for doing that. And
Yeah.
congratulations, Commissioner. There's no longer Commissioner-elect Falaschini. So from here on in the meeting, you'll be participating in votes since you've officially been sworn in and can take up your duties. So back to you, Councilmember Nadeau.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to join your meeting, and I loved hearing all your updates. Y'all are working so hard, and I really appreciate you as elected leaders and as partners. Commissioner Wood stole the show at the hearing. It was a great discussion. It was really funny. So let me just say this. I love census and redistricting, and I've been working on it sort of since I was a kid, which is so nerdy, but those of you who know me know that fits. It was my Girl Scout Gold Award project to help with the census in my neighboring town. So it's been a long journey, but and I participated 10 years ago when we talked about the boundaries of Ward 1. I was a citizen, just regular citizen then. So it's really exciting to look at where the population growth has been. Not so exciting to hear about our undercount today. How badly the Census Bureau did here in Ward 1, but we'll see how that ends up. At the end of the day, Ward 1 is going to have to change a little bit because all the other wards have to change a little bit. Some of them have to change a lot, and everything trickles down. Most likely, our boundary with Shaw will change a little bit. There's a very heated discussion going on right now with the U Street boundary. It's always been my hope to restore U Street in Ward 1. That involves some residents of Ward 2 having to join Ward 1, and that's been very heated in my inbox. But I thought that the testimony was very, very good. The discussion was really positive, and I know there'll be one more hearing with citywide hearings, so we'll see how it goes. There's also some discussion about adding to Ward 1 the old Soldiers Home on the eastern boundary, which would be really exciting because that's going to be a lot of housing. So we get to welcome new Ward 1 residents. So that's a little tidbit there. If anyone wants to talk about redistricting with me, buckle up because I could talk about it all night. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Ward 1 Council Member Brianne Doe. I've been in the seat since 2015. I'm also currently the chair of the Committee on Human Services. I'm going to give a brief update and focus. I think I'm focusing in on ANC priorities based on our conversations. And also just investments in the ward. So bus priority projects for Columbia Road Northwest in 2022 coming up. because of the budget that we just voted on or that is now in effect, because we're now in FY22. And then Lower Georgia Avenue bus priority in 2020. So for those of you who spend time over there as well, we got funding for 30 miles of new protected bike facilities, including on Warder Street, Park Place, Kenyon Street, and 9th Street. Again, we're continuing to connect the city with bike facilities. Right now, that's a huge problem, the lack of connectivity, but it's getting better and we're really focused on it. Funding for the completion of the Florida Avenue streetscape, 25 million over 6 years for Ward 1 street resurfacing, 3 million for activations and pedestrian plaza treatments, which includes Unity Park. So that's really, it's programming for programming money to do fun things in Unity Park and create positive activities, which I'm really excited about. The other park is 14th and Girard. We also have the repairs to Unity Park in this budget. That's the 70,000 that we need to fix the surface there. Let's see what else. 5 million in community planning for new affordable housing and community facilities at the current Engine 9 MPD 3rd District headquarters, right here in 1C. And for those of you who aren't aware, in this budget, I also passed an amendment that will be funding 2,400 units of housing for people who are experiencing homelessness or on the verge, which is really exciting. This is by far the biggest investment we've ever made. And it's so interesting to watch. It's already being implemented. So we're having a roundtable on it November 10th. But it's also really interesting to watch it get rolled out because every time you hear Mayor Bowser talk about housing people, like she just announced her Home for the Holidays program and all the permanent support housing. So every time she announces a program like that, it's coming from these funds that we put in the budget. And it's so great to see it in action, and all the people that are going to be housed with the support of our wealthiest residents having a slightly higher income tax. So it's all really exciting. We also have the funding for increasing the salaries of childcare providers, and the task force on that is underway now, and making sure that we do that correctly, adequately, in a way that lifts up those who've been working incredibly hard in that field. I mean, basically without much of a break at all during the pandemic. And it is also increasing the earned income tax credit. So that's going to establish a monthly payout for working families rather than an annual lump sum, and it's going to help a lot. Think of it like the Biden family tax credit, child tax credit. It's similar in nature, but not only for it's using our tax code instead of the Biden one. Okay, so ANC 1C is very active and vocal. Your commissioners are very active and vocal on pedestrian safety, traffic safety, bike safety, all of that, because it's a really tight geographic area that has people coming and going, right? I mean, it's really, really important. And so there's no mystery as to why, but it's good to know council's trying to catch up on a lot of these things, trying to push the mayor to catch up, trying to push DDOT to catch up. So we fully funded the Vision Zero Omnibus Amendment Act. That's our plan to eliminate traffic deaths. And we actually created dedicated funding by allocating future revenues from automatic traffic enforcement, meaning traffic cameras. So like things going together. I think it's important. And we know that the cameras themselves can help slow people down on the roads. And so we want to make sure that that revenue is being dedicated to helping keep our streets safer. We also funded 1.4 million to eliminate lead in DC water service lines and in residential housing. And we are funding the Electric Vehicle Readiness Amendment Act to expand EV charging facilities, which is exciting. And I definitely have some constituents bending my ear about that. 8 million to achieve the district's goal of 80% diversion of waste out of landfills and incinerators by 2032. So we're on our way. I do have now, Adams Morgan already has blue bins for recycling because the bid empties them. But I know that you all spend time outside that area as well. So you'll be excited to know that there are 66 more blue bins coming to Ward 1, because all the other commercial corridors have 0. And I'm pretty psyched about that. This is also something that I've cared about since my early days in Girl Scouts, like as much as like we created a song in 5th grade to sing about teaching people to recycle, because when I was that age, nobody knew how. I will not sing it for you today, so do not ask. But I can just say that constituents have asked for a long time if we could have recycling in all areas of the ward, you know, just for when you're walking down the street. And I'm excited that we're doing it. And I'm probably going to hug every can. So just get your cameras ready, because it's going to be weird and you're going to want to tweet it. This is our weird council member hugging recycling bins. So let me just see. So I know Commissioner Wood talked about the encampments. We are also holding a roundtable on the 9th about encampments. Open list for testimony. Anybody can sign up. Vince Gray's co-chairing. And the Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services is providing the government testimony, and he's the one who oversees the encampments. Bottom line is, while it's obviously a good thing that people are being housed, the how matters, and ensuring that we are not essentially traumatizing people as we move them into housing, and caring about the fact that moving from outside to inside can be a process. And so I've been concerned about the way we've rushed this. I've seen at times it's been done haphazardly. I'm sure everyone read the news story about the heavy machinery that was used that almost picked up a man while he was inside a tent because they didn't realize he was still in there. This is something I've been closely monitoring and frankly debating with the deputy mayor. And so now everyone will get to watch the debate live and also offer their commentary through public testimony. And I think it's a really important issue that we have to stay on top of. We have an upcoming hearing also on ranked choice voting, which is a really interesting development in democracy. Ranked choice voting gives voters up to 5 choices for their vote for a certain seat. And then if the top contender doesn't get a majority, then the bottom one drops off and everybody's votes get tallied again. This is a really critical thing in DC, because when you look at the at-large races, with the exception of whoever the Democrat is running, you generally have all the other candidates getting like a low number of votes in plurality. So this is a way to make every council member who gets elected having done so with a majority vote. And I think that that's better for our democracy, but people have lots of feelings about this. So I think that the hearing on November 18th is going to be pretty interesting too. That's at 9:30. If you don't want to testify and just want to watch, it's going to be on channel 13. So they're not all live on cable anymore, but that one will be. Let's see, we're all excited that the kiddos can get vaccines now. Marie Reed is a site. I'm trying to get, and Bancroft is a site. I'm trying to get some sites on the east side of the ward, frankly, in the schools with the highest risk populations as well. So we're working on that. I could keep going, but I think I'm going to stop there. And that way I can see if you guys have any more questions, if you have any questions or concerns or anything you want to raise, and I will surely have the answer or some notes on what those topics might be. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Nadeau, for those important updates. Lots of good things there going on. Commissioners, questions? Commissioner Wood.
Thanks. I'll be quick. You might not even be the right person to ask, but just while you're here, Connecticut Avenue, I know there's not really 1C involvement too much, but bike lanes, where is that standing? Do you know?
I don't know, and we can get you an update on that, but I'm for them. So
You're not alone.
yeah. Thanks, Commissioner, for putting the info about the pop-up vaccine in there. Yay. Yeah, that would be rad. I mean, Connecticut Avenue having bike lanes would be, and it needs a road diet anyway, right? So when we think about what contributes to road safety, it's cars not having enough room to feel like they can speed is part of it. And then when you put different infrastructure in that contributes to helping, whether it's a bike lane, a bus lane, or flexi posts or bollards, because you just want folks to not feel like it's a speedway. So it would be great.
Like that and the Rock Creek Trail expansion, like it's not specifically in 1C, but we're like one of the densest neighborhoods and one of the densest parts of the city. So like anything that can make so that transportation that involves getting to or from here better and safer is important. So yeah, thanks.
Right on. I'm with you.
Commissioner Club.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, council member. That was a great update. I'm excited about all these changes. There's so much going on. I did want to thank you for budgeting for Unity Park, because we know that needs some stuff. Oh, and also speaking of Unity Park, thanks for judging the Apple Pie Festival last week with Chair Arani. But I wanted to reiterate what Kristen Barden said in the chat. What could you outline a little bit more of the Unity Park budgeting? What's it for? How much is it? Is there a timeline? Thank you.
Yeah. I don't remember off the top of my head how much it is, and if Allie remembers, she can tell me in the chat, but it's in the budget now. So we are going to be working on getting it dispersed. It's through DPR, and it's for organizations to apply. So they have an idea for an event or a program they want to do, whether it's one time or consistently. So we're going to need help promoting it and how to apply and all of that. So yes, it's $50,000, but that's for three parks. So it'll be a pool for Columbia Heights Plaza, 14th and Girard, and Unity. That's a lot. I mean, $50,000 is a lot of money for programming. So I think it'll go a long way. But a few years back, the Office of Planning did some pop-up programming in it, and it was really cool. Like they did this one event with hammocks, and people could just like hang out and swing around, and you could do, who knows, maybe the bike shop would want to do something there, like we do on Bike to Work Day, set up some repair stuff or teach people how to ride. I mean, there's all kinds of, like, the sky's the limit. You could teach classes, you could dance. Yes, so we are working with DPR, and we will essentially be asking them to put out the info about how to apply.
Commissioner Falaschini.
Thank you, and thanks for this presentation. It's so exciting to hear all things that are budgeted for the coming year. And I just wanted to know, do you have those top lines of what's coming out for our district in specific that you can provide so that we can do a good update for folks in the district? Oh, you're muted.
For which line item do you want? For which investment?
Just the top lines that you went through for all the investments that apply to 1C.
Sure. Yeah, we can work with you on that. So that would be the bus priority project. It would be any protected bike facilities, Florida Avenue streetscape, resurfacings, and there's a cool map on the resurfacing. So if you want to come out with us, yeah, I think that's a great idea. We'll get you some dollar amounts in a little chart for 1C.
That'd be great. And then we can send that out to our constituents just to let them know what's going on.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. Commissioner Falaschini. Questions from members of the audience? Just raise your hand in Zoom or dial *9 if you are dialing in. Councilmember Nadeau, while we wait for questions. I didn't hear anyone bring up Ann Hughes Hargrove Park. Are there any updates there?
I don't have any updates on Ann Hughes Hargrove Park. I wish that I did.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, Peter would. Commissioner would.
DPR has been really good. It's not a great update, but there is, like, I was confirmed that there is a budget of $100,000 for the park. The next step is to go forward with how to community engagement for plans and things like that. So yeah, a half update that there's movement. I'm still waiting on some emails, so I'm trying to do the dirty work in tandem with Councilmember Nadeau's office, but
Yeah, we got to
There's-
push them to spend the money, right? It's like,
there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I think.
it's been there. We need them to spend it.
Well, there's a tunnel. It's good that we know there's a tunnel.
The money has
Yeah.
been allocated years ago, right? It was a couple
Right.
of years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why this is so hard for them, but we're here and we're not going to let them off the hook. So
Okay. Okay. I saw a hand go up. Was it Commissioner Faulkner?
Yeah, this isn't specifically about the budget necessarily, but I just obviously the 18th Street hopeful closure is a thing that has been sort of I think stalled, and I know there was some discussion about the mechanisms that the city has to allow street closures, often requiring programming or to have it, open streets, which is obviously a very different thing than what we're looking for at 18th Street. So I don't know if you have any update on that or anything that you can share with us.
right now I'm working on trying to get a new champion within government on this, within the executive branch, because Director Townsend was like a really good champion and he was pushing through for us. And with his departure, it's been really harder to get any traction. And so we've been trying to get Director Lott to sort of adopt it, but that hasn't taken yet. So I'm still sort of searching. And then, yeah, Kristen mentioned, so I don't know if this is public, but here we are. So we're working on some legislation with Councilmember Allen's office. The governance of all the road closures and special events and things like that are under the Mayor's Special Events Task Force. And it's a place where good ideas go to die, basically like death by 10,000 budget cuts. Like you can get there with your idea and they can be like, yeah, you could do that, but you've got to pay MPD for overtime and you've got to pay Metro for this and you've got to do, or just a no. And we are working with Alan to try to like open up the black box because they also have like no oversight. So they'll all defer to the HCMA director, which technically is under Alan, but then like, it's like nobody's really in charge. So we're trying to figure out how to create some oversight over that body, which blocks all kinds of things that we've tried to do over the years, including this. And so that's what Kristen's referring to. But I'm looking for my champion right now because we got so close. So we're still working on that. Some other things have come up in the interim. So we're, with Lott. So we'll see. I don't know if he's going to be the guy. I'm not getting the impression. So I'm like trying to regroup a little bit. If you guys have any other suggestions on which agency should adopt it, let me know. It's not going to be DC Health. That's for sure. But that's where we are. And I'm also, I'm working to get to know the new director of the Office of Nightlife. So that can be a fruitful relationship for all of us as well.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Other questions for the council member from the audience? Gordon, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. Council member, I had a question about the public restrooms that were funded, I believe, in last fiscal year. And what the status is of that. I think the DGS was supposed to be working on a scoping report or something where we would actually put them. And then it was reported that the public restrooms, the porta potties at encampment sites were not being cleaned. And so do you have updates about either of those things?
Yeah, in fact, I have an update. Well, so the porta potties, there was an issue with that contract, which has been resolved, but was a little tense there for a little while. Okay, so the status of the standalone restroom pilot, sometime this month, the working group is going to be submitting a report that identifies the standalone public restrooms to be used for the pilot with 1 or 2 locations. And then in December or January, it's going to be submitted to the mayor. So we're not going to see it then. But then in December or January, that'll become public and there will be an opportunity for public comment. And then once those public comments are incorporated and the ANCs in those locations weigh in, DGS will be going to procurement. So that is, and then the other piece of it is the incentive pilot. So sometime in November this month, DSLBD is going to be issuing the rules to guide the implementation of this pilot. This is where we provide funding to businesses that keep their restrooms open. So yeah, that's a relatively recent update.
Thank you, Councilmember. I don't see any other hands raised in the audience or from commissioners. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for those good updates and your work on the council on behalf of everyone in Ward 1.
Thank you all, and thanks for your partnership. And I hope you have a great meeting tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to join you.
Good night. So moving to the next item on our agenda, public announcements. So please raise your hand and try to limit the time that it takes to 2 minutes overall. If you're dialing in, dial *9. So I'll start from the top. I'll start in sequential order by who raised their hand, starting with Bonji Beard from DDOT.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we sure can.
Fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate you all having me here. So I am working with curbside management on the Park DC permits, specifically the visitor parking, the visitor permit parking program, and wanted just to let you all know that we are aware of any number of the challenges that your constituents have been communicating to us in terms of how confusing or difficult it may be to navigate the online system. What I am here to say is that we are absolutely committed to figuring out how to make that process easier. We have 3 ways that DC residents who live on those residential permit parking blocks can register for these new visitor parking passes. One is by computer at our Park DC Permits website. One is download the Park DC Permits mobile app. As well, there is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week customer service number that they can call to get registered. What we are really pushing right now, in spite of the challenges that folks might be experiencing, is we just want to get you all registered in the system as we are, again, working to create a more perfect union of form and function in terms of then getting your visitors registered. So I will put in the chat box the flyers that you can pass on. We really ask that you pass on to your constituents that show the different ways they can register, as well as have the phone number. And also, I really would appreciate you all sending me any events going on in Ward 1 that I might join in and share with your constituents more information about this visitor permit parking program that we are working on. Man, we're working on getting it smooth and easy for all DC residents. So we appreciate your patience and as well as your cooperation. Any questions I might answer?
Commissioners? Commissioner Palaschini, go ahead.
There are going to be a lot of folks waiting in line for a COVID vaccine shot next Friday at Marie
Yes.
Reed Elementary School. And that might be a good place to come and educate folks about how they can sign up for this visitor parking permit.
I wrote it down. Thank you, Commissioner. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And questions from other commissioners? Doesn't see like there's other, Commissioner Carano, go ahead.
My question, comment, happy to highlight this in an upcoming PSC meeting as well.
Awesome.
No need for you to take the time out of your evening to come unless you'd like to, but we can share any materials.
Thank you. Appreciate your cooperation, you all.
Other questions? Bonji Beard, thank you for joining us this evening and for providing that important update.
My pleasure.
Next, Kristen Barden from the Adams Morgan bid.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay, terrific. I'm never quite sure with these things. I wanted to give a big shout out and thank you to both Amir and to Fiona for your help on Saturday with the Apple Pie Festival, or the Apple Festival and the Apple Pie Contest. Thank you both. You were real troopers, both judging and helping to sell the pies. So thank you to both of you. And thank you to any other folks on the call tonight who attended the Adams Morgan 7th annual Apple Festival and Apple Pie Contest. We had 16 contestants who each made 3 pies. The event went super well. It was on the front steps of the Line Hotel, and we had great weather, which helped. I think this was one of our best years ever. So thank you to everyone who came out and bought pie or just watched or participated in lots of different ways. We had a great first Adams Morgan car show a week ago Sunday. This was the first time we tried to do something like this along Columbia Road. We had about 45 or 50 pretty expensive exotic cars, it was a really fun event. We didn't get quite the turnout that we'd hoped, so I think we're going to tweak it when we redo it this spring. It definitely, we learned some lessons, and I think it'll be fun to redo it in the spring when it gets a little bit warmer. The drag queen story times are continuing in Unity Park. The next one is on November 14th at 11 a.m. with Venus. Venus did the September drag queen story time, and so she'll be back on November 14th at 11 a.m. This will be the last one this year. It's getting a little chilly now, so we'll restart these again in the spring in partnership with the Line Hotel, who was a sponsor of this year's series. And let me think here. Coming up, we are going to be bringing the giant gift boxes back to the plaza in front of what was BB&T Bank by the kiosk. We'll be bringing the big one and then the 3 smaller ones. They should arrive around November 19th. They're going to need a little bit of maintenance, so we're going to work on those for a few days, and then starting on December 2nd, we're going to do some caroling. We're hiring a couple of professional carolers, and we'll have hot chocolate and cider out for 4 different dates. 2 Thursdays, the December 2nd and 9th from 6 to 7:30, and then 2 Saturdays, December 11th, December 18th from noon to 1:30 p.m. So trying to create a little bit of holiday spirit in the neighborhood. And for those of you who saw the gift boxes last year, you'll remember that they're great for, selfies, Instagram, family photos. And they were really well received last year. So we're bringing them back this year. And then we're starting to think about date nights in 2022. That we do that event in February and March, and it's full of lots of opportunities to win gift cards to local Adams Morgan businesses. So stay tuned for more to come on that. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kristen. Are there any other public announcements? Raise your hand in Zoom or dial *9 if you're dialing in. All right, seeing none. Before we move to our consent agenda, and Commissioner Faulkner, forgive me if you have already brought this up, but our PZT meeting is held on November 17th at 7 p.m. You can find the details at anc1c.org. To join the meeting, we will be hearing from an applicant that's seeking zoning relief, a special exception at 2329 Champlain Street. So that's 7 p.m. November 17th. Find the details at anc1c.org. So having said that, let's move to our consent agenda. We have a couple items on the agenda, the minutes from last month and the Q4 financial report that Treasurer Faulkner has put together. If there are no questions or anyone objecting to the consent agenda items, I'll call to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Great. Commissioner Valaschini, that was your first vote. Okay, and moving to our regular agenda, there is a preliminary matter here. What we'll do is place consideration of a proposed settlement agreement with Glory LLC. Glory is located at 2406 18th Street. However, this needs to be put on our agenda. So what we're doing right now, this preliminary matter resolves the fact that the community was not given notice, proper notice, the 10-day notice to consider the settlement agreement. And that's because the settlement agreement itself was signed only days ago. So based on the fact that the community would be adversely affected if we did not consider the settlement agreement tonight, I'd like to place this on I move that we place this on the agenda. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Clem. I see a hand up, Commissioner Valaschini.
Just question for the record, when was it placed on the agenda? Because I definitely saw it a couple days ago.
Probably.
It would have been placed on the agenda on Sunday.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think it was over the weekend. But in our bylaws, we require 10 days notice.
Thank you.
Yep, for sure. So do you have questions about placing this matter on the agenda? All right. Seeing none, I will call to a vote. All those in favor of placing consideration of the proposed settlement agreement on the agenda, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? All right. Now that that's on the agenda, we'll move to consider it. This settlement agreement with Glory was drafted and negotiated mostly by Commissioner Clem. Commissioner Clem, would you like to take it away?
Yes, so the settlement agreement was worked on for the last 2 months with the community that included a neighbor and a representative from the Colorado Citizens Association. We worked with the owner of the restaurant and his representative. And it was mainly based on some issues that were brought up by the community that included noise and trash and hours of operation. So after a couple of meetings, we did come to this agreement, which I think is a very good agreement for all sides. I'm happy to answer questions.
I just want to say thank you for negotiating and taking the time, Commissioner Clem, to do that. I know that there are a lot of parties involved, coordinating schedules, and seems like a great agreement.
And I would like to say thank you, Chair, for finalizing the agreement since I was traveling.
So questions from members of the public. Commissioner Falaskini, do you have a question there?
I do, yeah. I've heard a lot from folks along that alley that they really appreciate the rat abatement steps that are being taken, especially the increased trash pickup and making sure that food and other types of edible waste are being handled properly by the restaurants. So thank you so much for doing the work to make sure that that was included into the settlement agreement. I think folks, especially in my single member district, are going to be really appreciative of that being there.
Thank you for those comments. All right, not seeing any other questions, so I will, this didn't come out of committee, so I need a second for this agenda item.
A second.
Thank you, Commissioner Clem. So I'll call to a vote. All those in favor of adopting the settlement agreement with Glory, please say aye.
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 Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, great. The next item on our agenda is a settlement agreement with D-Light Cafe. D-Light is located in the former space or a portion of the space where Songbird used to be. That's on the northeastern side of 18th Street, just south of Columbia Road. D-Light is it's a bakery and a restaurant. They open rather early and they serve croissants and other kinds of pastries and savory food and sandwiches. We had the pleasure of having the owners join us and introduce themselves at the committee meeting last month. And the KCA, along with ANC 1C, has a negotiated settlement agreement with them. The major highlights of the agreement, which is linked there on the agenda, there will be regular trash pickup. This is something that we're trying to incorporate into most agreements. Noise is less of an issue here. It's not a bar, it's not open late, but regular trash pickup is. So we have 5 days a week trash pickup in there. So with that, I'll pause, take any questions. Okay, seeing none, I'll call to a vote. This did come out of committee with unanimous vote. So all those in favor of the settlement agreement, this came out of committee with the unanimous vote to place this on the agenda, actually. We didn't have a settlement agreement at the time. So, however, consideration is taking place. So all those in favor of the settlement agreement, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Okay. Well, that was the last agenda item. So I think this is the shortest meeting of the year. Well, good to see everyone. And maybe we'll be seeing you this weekend, but we'll certainly be seeing some of you next week at ABC. So thank you all.